Hi, sisters! So if you're seeing this, this is a before the scenes webinar part. I'm going to give you a little bit of the details of what's happening. I'm gonna go ahead and start the recording and it's gonna be loads of fun. So what you're gonna get is you're gonna get this webinar, you're gonna get the first hour. You're not gonna get the second hour. The second hour is the sharing part. But the first hour is the nitty gritty webinar part. It may be about an hour and 15 minutes around that time period. It's going to have loads of information that is going to rock your universe. And it's something that every woman should really know, whether you're already past menopause, whether you're a teenager. This is stuff that you should have learned when you first got your first period, and you probably didn't, because I for sure did not. But it's okay, because you're going to learn it now. And as long as you're learning it, you can pass on the knowledge. And one day, when people do get their first period, this is what they're going to learn. And I think that is magical and beautiful. And this is a dream come true for me. So hold your horses. I'm coming, and it's going to be loads of fun. To give you guys a little information while people are popping in and I'm admitting people in, I am Jasmine Martin. Hi. I am a business coach and I am a menstrual cycle coach. So to explain a little bit about what that means is I realized 3 years ago now, I think it's 3 years now, that I was on birth control pills for 7 years. And by the first time that I got my first period, I ended up having an irregular period, which means it didn't come monthly. Claudia, you good? Okay, cool. And it didn't come monthly. And what I noticed is that actually was very normal for your first year of having a period. And I didn't know that at the time period, right? When you're 12, 13, 14, and you get your first period, it gets a little crazy. Can't hear you. Is there a number to call in? There is a number to call in. Let me see if I can send it to you really quickly. Technical difficulties. I'm going to put it in the whole group. Okay, there you go. So I ended up getting my period. I got an irregular period. I went to the doctor and asked him if it's normal. And the first thing that I was told is, well, we're going to put you on birth control pills. I was like, well, okay, I'm 12, 13, 14. I don't really know if it's normal to get an irregular period or not. And so I followed instructions. For the next 7 years of my life, I was on birth control pills and I didn't know anything about it. So today you're going to learn a little bit about what birth control pills do to the body so that you get to decide, right? And a reminder, please put on your video if possible. I want to see everybody's beautiful faces during this time period. Yay! And I want you to be able to decide. I want you to be able to see what the power is in your menstrual cycle. Hi, Valerie! And I want you to be able to choose your menstrual cycle so that you're not following just instructions, that you're trusting your own body, your own intuition during this time period. And that's going to be the most beautiful part during this time period. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. I'm going to be sending you girls a portion of this PDF, but please do take notes wherever feels comfortable. The first thing that I'd like to do is I would like to do a small meditation with all my beautiful ladies. It's so nice to see so many people here that I know and trust and love, and I finally get to teach you so much of my knowledge in one spot, so I'm really excited about this. And I'm still accepting people in little by little, so bear with me. All right, so the first thing I want you girls to do is I want you girls to grab your hand, your beautiful hands, put one on your heart and one on your womb. So your womb is going to be that little spot right underneath your tummy, okay? Now I want you to breathe, and every time that you breathe in, you're going to say here. And every time you breathe out, you're going to say now. Here. Now. And see if you're breathing with your stomach or with your chest. Breathe with your stomach if possible. And while you keep breathing, I want you to think of your womb as a cauldron, a cup. And this cup holds a lot of power, a lot of emotion throughout our lives, and not just our own, but a lot of emotions that are around us. Our men's emotions, our family's emotions, everybody that you love. This cauldron is sacred, and you've been doing this without noticing, holding in emotions in this cauldron. But from today on, you get to decide what gets held in this cauldron. Breathe in and out. And every time you breathe out, think of what emotions you wish to release from your womb, from this cauldron. And every time you breathe in, think about what you want to put into it. Love, joy, peace. And take out that fear. Take out that worry. And for those that are bleeding at this time period, do me a favor and let it out with your bleeding. Think of what emotions you want to let out. Beautiful. And when you're ready, come back. So, has anyone ever done a meditation with controlling the womb? Please use the chat box, go crazy with the chat box, and I'm super willing for you girls every once in a while to raise your hands or even unmute yourself and be like, Jaslyn, that was awesome, right? Oh my God, please, right? This isn't just me talking, this is a community of women, right? So feel open to express yourself whenever necessary in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself and say something beautiful or add a comment. This isn't just me, this is all of us, okay? I'm just here to help. Okay, so welcome, HERflow, right? We're going to open the little chat box on the side over here. Nope, never meditated with the womb before. There you go. So we get to do that from now on, especially when you're bleeding. You want to be able to think about what you're letting go of. Okay, that is the most important part. If you're having cramps, just a little heads up here, if you're having a lot of cramps or any pain during your menstruation, that means that you have a lot to let go of. So journal, meditate, and do that meditation that I just did with you and let it out like crazy. And you'll notice that the next ones are going to be overflowing with joy. Okay, so that was a little meditation just to get into that inner feminine wisdom, what to let go of, what to get in, and that menstrual cycle magic that we talked about. Okay, next, I'm going to tell you a little bit about if you're in the right place or not. Okay, so I know some people here may be in menopause or perimenopause. We're still going to go over that. First off, we're going to go over moon cycles in particular and how you can still connect with your cycles during those time frames. Okay, so I'm not leaving you out, but I am not focusing on perimenopause and menopause today. There's absolutely amazing power when you get to those ages, and it's absolutely amazing. But I'm not going through that today. That's going to be in a future PowerPoint, but I got to go through stages here. So first off, this one is going to be all about what you should have learned when you got your first period, okay? When the things that your mom, or if you were part of a red tent once upon a time, that you should have learned and that we didn't because of the time period that we're at in our lives, right? But you get to learn about it now, and you get to show it to your daughters and your family members that are going to get their first period, or just share it with women because a lot of women don't know this knowledge yet, okay? So you have known there is something wrong with your period, but you didn't know what to do about it. Okay, so if you know that you're on birth control pills and it hasn't felt right to you and what's going on there, today you're going to learn more about that. If you know that when you're bleeding, you need to relax, but you're still working your butt off, you're going to learn more about that today too. You're going to start to learn about when to relax, when you're ready to go, when to launch a business, when you're most activated, when you need to go back into yourself. You're going to learn all that today. Okay, so go a little bit ahead. I said a little bit about who I am already. So the ones that missed it, I was in birth control for 7 years. Then I ended up learning about this. I ended up reading a book called Wild Power by Alexandra Pope and Shawnee. They're absolutely amazing. I have interviews with them. If you send me an email Jasmine Martin, my name, at gmail.com. I will personally send you that interview. Okay. That interview was the beyond the beyonds, and it's going to go into a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. And they changed my life. From there, I started reading books from Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, Elisa VT, Women Code, In the Flow, fertility awareness. I started going really deep into menstrual cycle work, reading thousands. It was just it was crazy. And I ended up becoming into this tomboy masculine woman, into this super feminine, like everyone that knows me now, like knows I'm super maiden energy. I'm like, oh my God, like all the time. I'm super energetic, and you're gonna see that during this time period. People say I'm like Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony, if anybody knows her, right? And once upon a time, I would have hated someone calling me that, but now I'm like, yes, that's me, yay! So it's amazing to be able to share my feminine energy with you, and just me being feminine. Look at how many people are smiling, right? People are like, oh, how cute, right? So that's what feminine energy does. That's one of the feminine energies. And it's amazing that I've been able to reach that spot, right? And cute little things about me. I love reading. I have my little tea. I got follow your heart over here. I wish I had a follow your womb. One day I'll make a mug. And I even have another one that's over here with 2 little teacups, right? So I love tea. I love drinking. I love reading, as I mentioned earlier. And I play a lot of games that nurtures. So Sims, Tamagotchi, right? And that's another feminine thing about me. I love nurturing. I love tending. I love befriending. And that is, okay, cool. So I want to go through myths. A lot of people, even people that I talk to and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bleeding, they tend to be like, oh, right? They make a face, oh, automatically, like, you're bleeding? Oh, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to hear about your tampons, your pads, the blood. They give me faces, right? And I can see some faces, right? Like, okay, we're going to go into this conversation. You signed up for a menstrual cycle course, so we're going to go through it, okay? So a lot of people say your period is a curse. Whether they say it to you or not, you probably believe a piece of that. Oh my God, here comes my period again and more cramps. Oh my goodness, right? That's actually a lie, okay? And I don't like to blame patriarchal people or in the terms or whatever, but the truth is that we haven't been taught on how to handle our periods, and it can actually be a cure. Our period can heal us. Just like the meditation I just gave you, girls, you can let go of so much emotions. Your period reminds you that you are a woman, right? That you are not a man. It reminds you that we are equal, but we have our similarities and our differences. And this is a huge difference because we create life. We create life. And that is not something to look down upon. It is not dirty. It is not disgusting. It is absolutely beautiful. Okay, and here comes a little bit of nasty for the ones that aren't used to this, but our blood has a massive power because there's placenta, there's life in our blood. And to say that it's just like regular blood when somebody gets cut, that is not the case. It's not that kind of blood. It has life in it. Again, oh my God, super nasty, but we're going to go into this is absolutely beautiful, and the power. I'm sure you guys have seen plants. Whenever you give it positive energy and you say like, you're beautiful, you're fantastic, and you give that to a plant, and the opposite is when a plant dies super quickly because you're telling it it's ugly. If you give a plant, get ready, if you give a plant blood, your blood, it will actually grow. It is like fertilizer to a plant. Crazy, right? If you don't, then it's going to be a regular plant. But if you give it to a plant, what are the chances that it's going to grow immensely? That it's kind of like giving it fertilizer, okay? And there's a prophecy. Oops, I muted myself. I love telling people about this prophecy because it's super important. There's a prophecy out there that if all women give their blood back to the earth, there will be peace on earth. Crazy, right? But again, our blood has life, it has power. So I was going to mention that prophecy all the way at the end when you girls are kind of used to this, but I'm giving it to you now because I think it's important to know, okay? All right. Second myth, PMS and cramps are normal. They're to be expected in a period. Absolutely false, okay? There is something you can do about this. Whenever you have PMS or cramps or PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, any of these issues, that's a sacral chakra issue to begin with, but we're going to get into that next PowerPoint. We're going to get into the emotional trauma and why that can happen. But today we're just going to talk about the fact that there's hormone levels within us. There's estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and they shift during our menstrual cycle. Okay. And if you're getting cramps, if you're getting PMS, that means that your hormone levels are off, and there's things you can do about it. So something super simple that you can do is during your luteal and your menstruation, you can be eating sunflower seeds, 1 tablespoon of sunflower seeds and 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds. You put it in a little bit of water for 5 minutes. That helps me immensely. You do that for the first, like the week before your menstruation, during your menstruation, suddenly you don't have cramps. It's crazy, but it takes care. I have low progesterone issues. I have low progesterone in general. Whenever I have sunflower seeds and sesame seeds, it boosts it up and I'm good to go. No issues whatsoever. Okay. So we're going to get more into it. And then finally, I mentioned earlier that I was on birth control for 7 years and I learned about wild power and what birth control truly does. So I get to talk about that today. What birth control does do, repeat sunflower and sesame seeds. Got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what birth control does is it eliminates your menstrual cycle. I'm going to repeat that. It eliminates your menstrual cycle. You don't have a cycle when you're on birth control. There's no ovulation and there's no menstruation. What you're bleeding, it's called a withdrawal bleeding. What you're doing is it's literally just like, because you're not taking the pills, you're taking sugar pills for those 5 days that you're bleeding. It's to actually make us think that we still have a cycle, but we do not. Our body thinks that we're practically pregnant. Okay. And that's not healthy. We're supposed to be pregnant for 9 months, not 7+ years like I was, right? So it messes with our menstrual cycle. And if you don't know this, birth control pills can actually shorten or like limit your clitoris nerves, which means less pleasure for you. So please don't do that. As women, we get to have that pleasure. We're the only thing, the only type of person that has a specific place for pleasure. Don't ruin that for yourself. Keep that, okay? Super important. So what is regular bleeding before I go into this? Regular bleeding consists of, I like to say 26 to 34 days, okay, around that time period consistently. So you should be expecting at that time period. Another thing is that your blood should be cranberry red, okay? So if you see brown at some point, it's probably because you have low progesterone issues. That's okay. There's things you can do about it. It's not the end of the world. If you're having cramps, you're probably having low progesterone or something of that sort around your period as well. Again, there's things we can do about it. We're going to be talking about that. I mentioned one of them. Silly question, are we consuming this concoction? What do we do with it? Consuming what concoction? Please explain. For the sesame seeds and the sunflower seeds, yes. I hope that's what you're talking about. But yes, you're going to put it in water for 5 minutes to 30 minutes. I do it sometimes for a day, and just to leave it in there. And then you can, I tend to drop the water and then I'll eat the sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. Okay, so it's gonna be 2 tablespoons in total, 1 sunflower, 1 sesame. Okay, so we're good to go there. Now, why? Why learn about your menstrual cycle? Why is this important? What does this have to do with you as a person? How is this gonna help you? First off, it's your body, right? And we have this natural rhythm. So I'm gonna do something. Does anybody want to read this slide? Lauren, can I call you out? Yeah. Okay. So Lauren, I'd love for you to unmute yourself. Perfect. Give a little intro of who you are, because she's going to be speaking later, and I'll let her tell you what she's going to be speaking about. And I'm super excited about it. I want her to read this slide too.
Okay, great. I have to just minimize the chat. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Lauren Purnell. I am a women's wellness, I would say, expert. I own which I'm here right now. I own a vaginal steam spa in Queens, New York, and I'll be telling you a little bit about V-Steam and how that can help you just with all of the things that we're talking about today. But I'll read the slide. So it's the one to the power within.
Yes.
Okay. So we all have a natural rhythm inside and we don't usually tap into it. Facts. We normally hide it from the world and we look down upon it. Our deepest strengths lie from working with it. It will bring you further connection to yourself, enhance your self-love, help you to love your body image more. It helps you to let go of control, gives you feedback on your habits, brings you more energy, avoids burnout and stress, connects you to the universe. Happy full moon, everyone. And
Yeah.
brings you more creativity. It helps you to understand yourself better, and it will give you more compassion for yourself, as well as allowing you to see your true power and potential. Hell
Woo!
yeah, I'm here for this.
I love you, Lauren. I'm loving
Yeah,
it. Thank you. I'm gonna get you to read some more slides because your
thank
mic is
you.
on point. I'm loving your
Thank
energy. So
you.
yes, totally.
I'm so excited about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, perfect. So you're gonna be hearing from her in like around the middle point, right before the sharing circle. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that. So Power Within 2.0, all right? So 2.0 is you when you tap into your menstrual cycle, you tap into your feminine energy. So I mentioned earlier that you're gonna notice that they automatically connect, okay? So if you question anything mentioned in this webinar, you're gonna do me a favor, you're gonna put your hand on your heart in your womb, kind of like we did in the meditation, and you're gonna ask yourself, is this true? And you're gonna notice that it's gonna say, hell yeah, right? So it's gonna be fantastic, okay? This is a little girl in blood. That's the idea. All right, so keeping the energy here. Power Within 3.0. Why should you learn about this? If you haven't read the fifth vital sign, highly recommended. Of the fifth vital sign, so the first four is blood pressure, weight, pulse, and temperature. Your fifth one as a woman is your period, okay? Your period is a vital sign if you're healthy or unhealthy. So I mentioned earlier about what is regular. So here it is again. If your period is regular, you're gonna have cranberry red blood, you're gonna be consistent, you're gonna be pain-free, you're gonna have your diet, your emotions, your exercise, all that's gonna be on point, right? That is a regular period. If it's irregular, you're gonna be having issues. Another thing is anovulation. I didn't mention it here, but there's a chance that you're having regular periods, but you're not ovulating regularly, which is called anovulation, which is a whole other PowerPoint. But if you feel like that's happening to you, let me know. The way to know is around day 14, you should be getting egg white cervical mucus. Okay, so it should literally look like the yolk of an egg. Okay, if you're not getting that, if you're not seeing that on your underwear at some point, there's probably an issue, okay? So you could be bleeding and everything could be looking good, but if you're not ovulating around day 14, it's also an issue, all right? So just a heads up. All of this is vital signs if you're healthy or unhealthy. As women, that's really important, okay? So we talked about it. Not only is it going to help you spiritually with your body image, understand yourself better, the whole shebang, oh man, like all the stuff with less stress and more energy and more creativity, but it's also going to connect you to your feminine energy, which is amazing. And I know Claudia's here. Claudia, I would love for you to talk a little bit about feminine energy, and later on I'm going to invite you girls to Red Tent later, and she'll do, if I don't know if you want to talk now or if you want to talk later, let me know. I would love either way. Later, you got it. So it's going to be absolutely amazing that you're going to hear about the Red Tent if you haven't been. Oh man. And then the last one is the vital sign of your health. If everything else wasn't good enough, you're like, meh, maybe not the spirituality. I got enough. Meh, I'm already feminine energy. That should be another big sign. Okay. So good enough. Hopefully everyone is like, yes, please give me more menstrual cycle work. Yes. Okay, cool. So here's another thing. We're going to talk about cycles in general. Everyone should normally knows what circadian rhythm is, which is that 24-hour clock. Okay, tick tock, tick tock. Men live 100% in their circadian rhythm. Women only live 25% in their circadian rhythm. That includes body temperature, your blood pressure, and also just waking up from morning to night. So what the panda is the women's 75%. A menstrual cycle. It's called the infradian rhythm. So it's that 28-day cycle. So if you're only living as a man would with that 25% circadian rhythm, you're gonna be in burnout. You're gonna be stressed out, right? Make sense? Everybody, thumbs up. I'm gonna be checking everybody. Thumbs up, right? So it makes sense. Infradian rhythm, when you start connecting to this more, you have these inner seasons and you're gonna start realizing that your energy shifts. A man has really high testosterone in the morning and then it dwindles throughout the day until they end up on the couch just watching TV and knocking out, right? Women don't have that. We have different energy levels depending on the week that we're in. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that a little more. But yes, here's the weeks. Yay! So everyone, I already talked about menstruation and ovulation. We also have pre-ovulation and premenstruation. If you want to know the biological terms of it, it's going to be follicular and luteal, right? So premenstruation is luteal. Pre-ovulation is going to be follicular, okay? But we're going to keep it super simple. So how do we know if you're living by circadian rhythm? I'm going into that right now. So I got you. So the way that you know circadian rhythm is if you're not cyclically living, if you're not connecting to the moon cycles, if you're not connecting to your menstrual cycle. Now, of course, the menstrual cycle is going to be more of an infrared rhythm because it's within us, right? It is literally us. But when you connect the menstrual cycle and the moon cycle, you're going to have super spiritual growth. And we're going to talk about that very soon. If you don't have a menstrual cycle, the way that you can connect is the moon cycle. Make sense? So if you're on menopause and you still want to be living cyclically, you still want to have that power, it won't be as strong as if you had menstrual cycle, but you can still live with infrared rhythm with the moon cycle. All right? Thumbs up, yes? Okay, cool. So menstruation is that bleeding time. I'm going to mention this one first because it's the easiest one to notice, and then we're going to go ahead. But technically, your day one should actually be pre-ovulation. The one that's decided that day one on our calendar, if you were to look this up, was menstruation. It's just because it's easier, and it was gynecologist. But truly, it should be the last day of your bleed. It should be day one whenever you're doing any menstrual cycle chart reading. Okay, so very interesting to know that information. So menstruation is you're bleeding. This is the time period to relax. This is the time period when you get the biggest ideas. Go over that again, please. Go over the cycles. Okay, so I'm gonna go over that like 6 times during this PowerPoint. I got you. So menstruation, it's also called the inner winter. When you think about winter as the time period where you're indoors, right? You're relaxing, you're gonna be meditating more, you're gonna have bigger ideas during menstruation. For the super spiritual people here, when you learn to use this correctly, you're gonna get divine downloads. It's gonna be absolutely crazy to you because you're just gonna be bleeding and you're gonna be sitting down and relaxing, and then suddenly you're gonna get this big idea pop up in your head. You're like, oh, I gotta work on that this month. And it's gonna be great. And it's not even gonna come from you. Like, where did that voice come from, right? So you're gonna have so much amazing power, and it's gonna be great. Like, you're gonna have visions. It's gonna be crazy. Your dreams during menstruation, get ready. When you start cyclically living, they're gonna start popping up all over the place with great knowledge and information for you when you learn how to interpret them. Okay. Pre-ovulation is that maiden energy, that inner spring. Okay. So it's gonna initiate big ideas. So during menstruation is a lot of evaluation time period, right? You're going to be reevaluating your life. You're going to be going through big ideas. You're going to be relaxing. Pre-ovulation, you're going from inner to going outer. So ovulation is outer, okay? You're going to be super communicative, super woman. Pre-ovulation is that middle phase. So you're going to slowly go from inner, I want to be alone, to, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so excited. And that maiden energy is going to come out. So what I mentioned earlier of that Pinkie Pie, My Little Pony, like, yay, that's pre-ovulation normally, okay? So during that time period, your energy starts to go outward, right? Ovulation is fully outward. You're going to want to communicate. I'm ovulating at the moment perfectly with the full moon, mind you, so yay, right? And the full moon, for the ones for the moon cycles, we're going to talk about that later, is perfect for ovulation. It's the most outward time period as well. It's the most communicative time period, the most time to go out there and do things. So it's going to be the same thing during ovulation. So it's perfect, right? So that's why I'm very talkative today. It was a great time period for the webinar. I'm going to be talking a lot. That's great. So you're super women during ovulation. Ovulation, which you'll learn soon, is also the mother time period. They're very nurturing. You're more out there. You're taking care of people. It's less about you. You're going to start realizing that you're forgetting to do self-love stuff and you're going out there and partying. And that's also like the best time period to do all crazy new stuff. Okay. Pre-menstruation is also called the enchantress or the inner fall. Pre-menstruation is you're starting to go from outward back to inner. Okay, so you're coming back to getting ready for menstruation. So that's why if you notice pre-ovulation is like a mini ovulation, pre-menstruation is a mini menstruation. All right, that's why it's called pre. So it helps you to remember which one's from inner to outer and which ones are from outer to inner. Okay, so pre-menstruation is a great time to complete things. It's a great time to start realizing, okay, well, for the month, you know, when in moon cycles, for the ones that know this, new moon, normally you initiate a new task, right? New moon is also menstruation. You initiate a new task. You start deciding what you want to focus on for the rest of the month, right? And then full moon is when you're really going with that idea. Pre-menstruation is you're completing that task and getting ready to start a new one during new moon. Okay, so hopefully everybody's seeing the connection. We're gonna get it by the end of this webinar. I promise you're gonna get it. Okay, so little by little. So I mentioned earlier, maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone. So a lot of people know about the triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone. Nobody really knows about the enchantress. And the enchantress was also called the witch and the wild woman back in the days. At some point, we had the witch trials, and witches were eliminated practically, right? So the enchantress was seen as also known as like the dark goddess sometimes too. She's very mysterious. She's there for you, and she's very sexy at the same time, right? It's a lot of men in bed want the enchantress. They want the enchantress, but they don't know that they want the enchantress. Okay, so it's crazy. It's, you know, when you're also dating and you got to play that little mysterious game and curiosity game, and you keep them in, but you got to keep that, right? So the little game that you play, that's the enchantress within you. Okay, so the best time period for that is pre-menstruation. The maiden energy again is go, 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 super yay, right? She's, if you really think about it, mother is also nurturing. Crone is a wise woman. She's going back to being inner. She's taking care of herself. So you're seeing the connections of the four. The reason I'm breaking it down in maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone is because these are the energies within us during these time periods. Okay, and again, so I mentioned pre-ovulation is going to be the first one technically. Menstruation is technically the fourth phase, the crone, right? The crone is like the oldest and the wisest. So again, day one is going to be the day right after your period, pre-ovulation. The maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone, the reason why people say that women are hard to read or are hard to explain or they're hard to get is because they don't understand this. They don't understand that we are not just one woman, we are four in one. Does that make sense? Please put in the chat box, yes, 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 if that made sense to you. Like, wow, like whole huge open awareness here. Wow, right? So we're four in one women. We have the maiden energy, we have the mother, the enchantress, and the crown. How do you work on pre-ovulation / ovulation? Tell me more about what do you mean by how do we work on it? Like, how do you work with the energy during pre-ovulation / ovulation? Okay, I'll repeat that so I can know, and I'll explain that some more. Okay, so the maiden, mother, enchantress, and crown energy, for us to be able to understand her more, we're going to do a small exercise. I'm going to go through that in a few minutes. You're going to write down on a piece of paper if possible, or on your computer, since we're on the computer, maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone, and you're going to start thinking about what you want to name them yourself. You want to start thinking about what is it that you can call this energy so that you can explain it better. You can keep it maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone if you'd like, or you can give them beautiful names. So my maiden energy is Pinkie Pie, right? Just because, again, that is a piece of me. Yay, right? My mother energy, her name is Layla, because for some reason I've always imagined a Layla, like, I don't know, she sounds like a good mother to me. That persona is all about taking care of my family. She's very communicative. She has a lot of friends as well. She's very outgoing, right? The enchantress, I call her Diana. Right, so Diana is very mysterious. She wears a little bit of sexy clothes that shows off a little bit, which isn't normal for me, but whenever I'm ready for her, that's what I like doing. And she loves wearing red. Okay, loves that. And then my crone energy, she doesn't really care what she's wearing. She's very into taking care of herself and self-love. She loves goddess baths like crazy, and she's all about taking care of herself. She really doesn't, like, she's all about her boundaries too. She doesn't take snap from anybody. She's like, okay, listen, I'm not having it. That's my crone energy. I'm not having it. Okay. So to go into a little more, I'm going to sneak in here so you can see the connection. The crone is called the sage in this example. So again, we have this one says the first phase is menstruation. We're going to keep it as that for now. The maiden, mother, the enchantress, and the crone. So notice the follicular phase, pre-menstruation, pre-ovulation, ovulation, pre-menstruation, and menstruation. And if you want, I recommend taking a picture of this if possible. And if anything, if you girls ask me for anything on this PDF, Even if I don't send it to you in the replay email afterwards, you just tell me and I will personally send it to you. I don't have an issue, okay? So this is really important. I'm gonna try to get as close as possible for you girls. This is really important to understand and get into. So I'm gonna start with the maiden energy so that you can read it. So dynamic, active, increasing conscious awareness, best time for mental clarity, learning, concentration, researching, structural thinking, independence, and physical stamina, right? So again, thinking of yourself as a little girl that's going out there and having super creative energy, right? The mother, outgoing, expressive, conscious reasoning, outward focus for creativity, best time again for communication, empathy, productivity, teamwork, supporting others, anything with other people and relationships. Enchantress, also known as the wild woman, creative, active, increasing subconscious awareness, best time for inspired creativity, out of the box thinking, problem solving, assertiveness, and I always like to adding the word mysteriousness because that really explains her. Sage/crone, menstrual phase, also a wise woman, bleeding, reflective, passive and withdrawn, subconscious intuition, inward focus for creativity, best time for inner processing, creative reviewing, reaching the core of things, reframing, letting go, new ideas, intuitive, creative, and rest and renewal. All right, so you girls are trying to see a pattern here, right? For all of these? Yes? All right, cool. So we're getting it. Like changing your diet. How do you work in that? So we're going into diet soon. I got you, girl. We're heading towards that. So again, if you can take a moment and think about the names for each one of these that you'd like to create, you can keep it maiden, mother, enchantress, crone, or you can name them separately. And the next thing that you want to do is you want to think about how you can nurture each one of these separately. When you're in that week, how can you nurture her? So I gave examples underneath. I'm going to give those examples while you write this down. And what I'd like is whenever someone is ready, please unmute yourself or raise your hand or write it in the chat box. I'd love to hear some examples of what you girls created for this little assignment that I'm giving you. So for maiden energy, my maiden energy loves to dance and she sings like crazy, especially in the shower, right? And she'll dance all over the household. She loves wearing fuzzy socks, right? She loves writing down ideas. Valerie, no, okay. She loves writing down tons of ideas and having tons of like literally I have like an idea list paper that I write and I go crazy writing it all and then I like highlight a few of them that I want to focus on. Yay. Hold on. There you go. All right, perfect. Mother. Am I good? Okay. Mother. Nurturing other people is really important to her, but during that time period, I try to remember the hardest. So it's the time period that I forget to take care of myself. And I do my best to remind myself to take care of myself during the mother age. And meal prepping is something that I just always want to do during mother. I meal prep like crazy whenever I'm ovulating. And I love going out. So I plan webinars like this. I plan them specifically when I'm ovulating, right? I plan going out times or I don't know, parties, birthday events, whatever it is, I make sure that as much as possible, I put them in during my ovulation, hang out with friends, creating, I have a meetup group where we all meet up all the time and I do it during my ovulation as much as possible, right? Enchantress, my enchantress loves to meditate. She loves creating rituals. I'm personally pagan. You can create prayers, whatever you want to do what you need to, right? My enchantress also loves to learn new things. So I do a lot of crystal work, learning tarot cards, palm reading, learning something new, reading a lot of books during that time period. And there's enchantress. I'm not going to go too much into this, but she technically has two phases, right? So she's the most mysterious. You're going to start noticing when you get closer to crone/menstruation, you're going to start really going inner. And I normally feel more inner personally before I hit like the day before menstruation. I feel my lowest, okay? And I'm going to explain how to chart that in the future. And then my crone energy, she takes time to rest. I sleep a lot when I'm menstruating, a lot. And that's okay, super okay. I journal a lot. I put crystals and I connect my crystals to my chakras. I evaluate my life. And During your enchantress, super important, your inner critic voice is going to be coming out really loudly. And you probably, if you, when you start like checking out your symptoms and start realizing and start noticing and charting your cycles and where your energy levels are, which I'll teach you how to do in a few minutes, you're going to be like, oh my God, my inner critic voice, and the one that likes to tell you that you're ugly, you're not good enough, there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with the world, and all this stuff comes out the most during your enchantress time period. But now that you're going to be aware of it, you get to be like, okay, this is just a phase. Just like the moon, I go through phases. It's all okay. This is meant to be, right? And in just a few weeks, I'll be perfectly fine again. During maiden and mother, you're a lot more positive and optimistic, right? So you're going back to inner. It's part of the process, okay? And your inner wisdom voice comes out the most during your menstruation. So it's very interesting, like one right after the other. All right, so does anybody, please do me a favor, unmute yourself, one person if possible, that would like to give me the examples that they've created for the names or ways that they nurture their maiden, mother, enchantress, and crone. You can just pick one, or you can do all four if you'd like, but I'd love some examples. Anybody? Anybody? Come on. Can I call somebody out? My anxiety peaks during my 3 days before start of period. Is that enchantress time? During my 3 days before start of my period. So before your period, yep, that's enchantress. That's the one. Yeah. All right. Winnie, can I call you out? Ooh. Can I? Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Any chance that you're doing this exercise with us?
Yes, I only got to mother and enchantress. I haven't picked maiden or crone yet.
Perfect. Can you tell me what you got so far?
So for mother, I put Sarah. That's my mom's name, and I just whenever I think of mother, I think of her. Enchantress, I chose Xena. It's just always been a name that I gravitated towards.
Nice.
And I'm still thinking about maiden and crone, but yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. I'm loving it. Did you figure out how you could nurture either one of those so far?
No, not there yet.
Okay. You want to do a little exercise with me?
Sure.
Okay. So you can I talk about your mom? Is that okay? Because you mentioned that. Okay, cool. So when you think about your mom, what is it ways that you wish that she would nurture herself more? And you're noticing that maybe you can nurture yourself more as well during that time period.
I think spend more time for herself. Like I feel like she's always helping her mom or my dad or me, or just so I think just kind of that personal time for her.
Okay. And what does that look like for you? What's like if you could do this one thing, it would bring so much more self-love to your life?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I would write more.
Ooh, okay, perfect. So you get to let out that creativity out. I love it. All right, perfect. There you go. And your enchantress? You got anything for your enchantress this far, for your nurture?
I think I would have her go out more, like send her to a bar by herself.
Ooh, yeah, I've been thinking my enchantress energy has been like asking me to do solo travel. And I'm like, but I'm scared. But I'm trying, yeah, solo travel is intense, but I'm gonna try it one day. Yes, I love it. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Jaslyn,
Yes.
if you want to try solo travel, I started a little bit of it. Do something small, like a mini trip. I was so scared to travel by myself at first, but it's really fun. It really, really is.
Ooh, I know it's going to be. I want to take like self-defense classes or something, but I know that's like, yeah. Or I just carry on like a little spray gun or something. I'll figure it out. Whatever gives me a little bit of energy.
It'll happen at the right time.
Yes, thank you, Bianca. Thank you. So there you go, solo traveling, my enchantress energy. Woohoo! Does anybody have an example for maiden or crone? And if nobody responds in like 2 seconds, I'm gonna call somebody out.
I don't mind doing it.
Valerie, how are you?
So my maiden. Okay, I'm kind of a little confused. So
Tell me.
On my period is enchantress.
On your period is crone. So I'm gonna come back up here really quickly. Menstruation is crone, your bleeding time.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I was a little confused.
It's okay. First time. Rock on.
So the first one, what is it? The maiden? The mother one Is this the one where you're more like relaxed or you're more out there?
So maiden is you're in the middle. You're going from inner to outer. My maiden energy, like this is literally my maiden energy right here in 2 seconds.
Okay.
So think of her as like a little child, a little girl that's very innocent and is super like outgoing and taking care of the world.
And this is basically when your period has ended.
Right after your period is ended.
Right
Yeah,
after your period has ended.
it's like a 7-day window. Yeah.
Okay. Usually what I do when I'm done with my period, because usually when I'm actually on my crone, on my period, like right now, I am very emotional. I like to do a lot of like face masks and stuff, but for some reason I get a lot of energy to do a lot of sports. I think
Yes.
it helps me with my blood clots
Ooh.
and bringing down what gives me cramps is blood clots. So when I just move around, I get to like flush it out easier. So I get this random urge to actually do a lot of sports, or I get really lazy and eat the entire fridge. There's no fine line. But I do. I think that's the way I deal with it. I just do a lot of sports, and I try to like connect with like my female energy. I usually go to the beach and just I take off my shoes and feel the earth and imagine like the blood. I know it's kind of vivid, but I imagine the blood going towards the earth and like really letting it go.
That's
My
beautiful.
pre-ovulation, I usually like my what is it? The pre-menstruation is what?
Menstruation is enchantress.
It is. Oh my God. I am so emotional.
Yes.
Right before my period, and I get this boost of energy to want to do more, which is really weird. What is it? Manage your energy. Yeah, I turn into such fire. I realize I've become more emotional and say a lot of things right before my period, and once I'm on my period, I'm calm. It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so technically you're going through PMS, right? If the term PMS.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a heads up for PMS. Is it okay if I give you some advice on how to handle it?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So a lot of times for PMS, it tends to be food issues. All right. So I don't know if you're aware. Do you know if you're intolerant? Not that you're allergic. Are you intolerant to wheat, milk, soy, eggs, any of the big things? Not that you're aware of. Okay. So I wasn't aware of this personally myself until like a year and a half ago. And I did something called an elimination diet. You don't have to be as intense as I am. I'm going to mute you just because I can hear myself, but unmute yourself when you want to speak.
Sorry.
Okay. So one thing that I've noticed, I used to have a lot of PMS issues and I used to have a lot of cramps during menstruation, but I started taking out things like taking out bread and milk. Those are the two big ones for me. Milk gives me a lot of pimples all over my face and it gives me diarrhea. TMI, but it's important for you to understand, right? And then wheat ends up giving me a lot of pimples on my back. Since I hit puberty all the way for like 10 years, I did not understand why I had so many like pimples on my back. And it wasn't until I stopped having wheat and bread and gluten in general that that started going away and my depression went away. My PMS started to go away. I was a lot more calm and optimistic throughout all 4 of these phases. So it was absolutely crazy. So realizing, even if like we eat bread all the time, right? But my girls know in the WhatsApp recently, if you're not in the WhatsApp, I'll send that to you later. I ended up getting gluten-free donuts. Why? It was still great, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. But the only reason that I avoid gluten at this point is because I get in this massive depression in the next 3 days. I don't want to go through that anymore, right? So especially during Enchantress, I'm really careful on what I eat during ovulation and Enchantress and menstruation. Maiden, I kind of let go a little more. Right after, yes, okay, fine. I give myself 1 day during my maiden energy to have my cookies and ice cream because I love that, right? But besides that, you gotta be careful with what you eat. So doing something like an elimination diet or checking, the best way to do elimination diet is to look up something called AIP, autoimmune protocol. I notice if I have soy, alcohol, and caffeine in the 2 weeks before my period, my cramps will be awful. Yes, but it's important to know that, right? So important to know that. Soy is a huge issue for PMS and cramps. People don't know that. Like having tofu and things like that constantly can be a huge issue because you're raising your estrogen levels way too high and your progesterone levels can't catch up. Valerie, you mentioned you have blood clots. Sounds like that may be an issue. I don't know how much soy you have, but it could just be that you're having high estrogen and low progesterone levels during that time period, and that's what causes clots. Clots are not normal. Just a heads up.
So wait, can you repeat that part? Why the clots? You mentioned, what was it? Possibly?
So clots in general, it means that your hormones are off, right? And it could be one or the other. It could be high estrogen, low progesterone, or it could mean high progesterone, low estrogen. It's really important to check what you're eating. So whether it's soy, wheat, milk, so on and so forth, getting it corrected. And I'm going to send you magnesium is something that's really important that women don't have a lot. And different vitamin B6 and B complex. So I'm going to send you, if you check out Elisa VT, I'm going to put in the chat box. Everybody has it. Elisa VT, and check out her, I forgot what it's called. Her pills. She has these specific pills that you can be sent to your house. They're absolutely amazing. Your cramps, your PMS, everything will start to go away if you do that and you eat right. So we're going to go through the food very soon, but we're good to go. Valerie? I love you, girl. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for being open, because this is the time period to talk about what's going on, because we never get to talk about cramps, PMS, bleeding. Really, we don't get to talk about this. This is the time period to talk about it so we can figure out what's normal, what's not, and what we can do about it so we can be the best possible. Yes, magnesium is great for lowering blood pressure in a natural way. Yes, but if you're on any kind of medication, check in with your doctor, because magnesium does counteract with certain meds. Ooh, okay, thank you for that. Okay, I'll leave that there. It's important to know. Robin, yay. Okay, so we went through this. Anybody have any questions on this before I move forward? So I know some of you may be confused. You may want to take a picture of this, or if anything, I can send this to you girls in this particular slide so you know it a little bit more. Someone unmute themselves. Okay, guess not. Okay, cool. So we're good to go. All right, so I created this little thing for you girls. Yes, having this slide would support me. Okay, perfect. I created this little thing for you girls. This is what I personally journal every single day, what I write down so that I know. So I write down what cycle phase I'm in: follicular, ovulation, luteal, menstrual. I didn't put this, but your follicular, again, is your maiden, and your luteal is your enchantress. Ovulation, follicular, premenstruation, luteal. Okay, that's biology terms, science terms. Okay. I also put moon phase, which we're going to go over very soon. Okay. So your follicular is your waxing, ovulation, full moon, luteal, waning, menstrual, new moon. You don't need to know this yet. I'm going to go through this very soon. Okay. You're going to ask yourself during your journal time periods. I write the date. I write down what phase I'm on. Okay. And the best way to know, get an app. There's all kinds of apps. My absolute favorite app is by Lisa VT. It's called MyFlow, FLO. MyFlow. I think it's like $2. Can you send this to us? Yes, I can send this to you. I got you. So MyFlow is my favorite app. It's like $2. Okay. But it's the $2 that is like the most worth everything in your life, like in one app. It's everything I'm going to talk to you about today when it comes to food, exercise, the cycle phases. A lot of it is in there. She doesn't have moon phases in there. Snap. I wish she did. One day I'll make a menstrual cycle app with moon phases and your menstrual cycle connected. One day, unless somebody else does, and I'm okay with that too. Putting it out there in the world, right? But for now, I journal everything on paper, and I have an Excel spreadsheet. So you don't want to see that. It looks crazy. And I connect like my basal body temperature to it. It's absolutely crazy. One day I'll do a PowerPoint on fertility awareness. For now, we're going to ask you, how are you feeling during your cycle phase? You're going to figure out how you're feeling. When you wake up, you're going to know if you're feeling a little down, if you're feeling like you want to go out there and take over the world, right? If you feel like Superwoman, you're doing your movement, right? Whatever it is, or you want to hide in your room. You're going to write that down from the beginning. What are your top 3 priorities for the day? During ovulation, I like to write down self-love is one of my top priorities, because again, you tend to forget the most during your ovulation time period, right? Okay, your menstrual cycle, now that you're aware of this, you're gonna start realizing like that's automatic during your menstrual. You're gonna wanna take care of yourself. You're gonna wanna go inner. So write down your top 3 priorities, whether it's business, taking care of work, or taking care of yourself as well, okay? What 3 things would I do to love myself and recharge my battery during this phase of my cycle? So when I say recharge your battery, I think of your energy level, right? How are you feeling? Your energy level from 0 to 100, and start figuring out ways that will recharge it. So tea gives me like 10% extra battery for a little bit longer, whether it has caffeine or not. Reading, if I read for 30 minutes, I've got like a 30% extra battery charge, right? And you want to do your best to stay at 100 at all times, okay? If it's very hard, right? But we keep our phones practically charged all the time, right? We barely ever let our phones get to 0. So why would we let ourselves get to 0? Okay, very important. The lower you are, the more cramps, the more PMS, the more issues you're gonna have. So keep yourself high as much as possible. What will I eat today to value my body and menstrual phase? We're gonna get through that, but just write down that question and you're gonna see more information very soon. How will I exercise today to value my body and menstrual phase? We're gonna get through that again. I'm gonna send you girls the replay of all this, and you're gonna get this part sent to you. How will I focus on what will I focus on in work to value my business and my menstrual phase? If you have a business or if you have a job, you get to write that down. And then mind up / reflections. For women, we're gonna do a sharing circle after this where we get to go crazy and talk to each other and do introductions. It's very important to mind dump and do reflections. It's very important to get things out of our heads. So if you know anything about like the hunter and gatherer days, the hunters, right, men, on average, you tell them, how was your day? And they'll be like, fine. And it drives us insane because we want all the details, right? Because as gatherers, once upon a time, we would have to tell, let's say I knew where berries were that were about to be ripe. So I would tell Natalia, I'd be like, Natalia, you have to know where these berries are because if something happens to me, then everybody else needs to know so that we can all survive and have the berries. So the berries are 3 trees down to the left. I put a mark on it with a huge X on it. You have to go three trees from that way. You're going to hear a river. You're going to want to go to the river. And then it's the ones that are green, not the purple ones. The purple ones could kill us. It's got to be the green ones, right? So once upon a time, we had to be very detailed. So now when our man asks us, how was your day? And then they're like, oh my God, here she goes with all the details that drive me insane. It's actually super normal for women to want to talk and say details. So instead of driving your man insane or anybody else in your life insane, write it all down, right? As long as something or someone is your trash can, you can dump it all out, right? So it's really important to do that, especially in the morning, so you can think better throughout the day. And like Claudia, I don't know if you're still in here. I love you so much because she is my amazing person that I like send all the information to. And she's the best at it. She like holds major space for me. So either mind dump or find a sister that is willing to listen to all your stuff, right? Be there for somebody. It's important. Okay. So chart your menstrual cycle. So again, I'm going to go through the moon phases very soon, but you want to chart, and I'm like, I'll send you this again. I have 2 different charts that you can use to start you off to learn on what's happening, what symptoms you're going through. And you're going to start noticing I get specific symptoms around day 27, right? If I know I'm not like the 5th vital sign, right? My health, I know if I eat kind of like bread or milk, anything like that, around day 27, I start getting cramps, right? So you're going to start noticing that your symptoms are popping up around the same time periods. Your headache shows up on day 12. Why is that? What are you eating? Et cetera, et cetera. You're going to start being able to notice that. So charting your menstrual cycle, put day 1 as the first day you start your period, or you can do day 1 as, we're gonna keep it with starting your period because everybody else has it like that. Under the moon phase that aligns. So let's say you're gonna start bleeding on the new moon, or some people are bleeding on the full moon. You're gonna put day 1 right here. 1, right? Add any symptoms to the next box, so this box right here, or anything else you're tracking. So whether it's your meditating, your self-love, your eating habits, any symptoms that you have going on, you're gonna write all that down in this little box right here, okay? And then here in the middle, when you finish all 26 to 34 days, you're gonna write in the middle a smiley face, a face, depending on how this month went, okay? That's what I like to do. Or you can just draw something pretty, up to you. This one is more for self-love, so I use these little hearts personally to write down if I gave myself self-love that day. So I like to draw it in, or you can use colored pencils, or you can just use any marker you want, or just check it off. I like to be creative with it and have some fun with it. So you're gonna draw in the little heart whenever you do any self-love. Write down any symptoms you have in the box. So in the box, and then the day is already here. So you're going to start your day and go through. This little circles are for you to draw in your moon. So this is a little bit more going into it. All right, perfect. Ooh, we got a new girl. Yay. All right, food. So we were mentioning, how can we handle our ovulation? What do we have to eat during our time period? So again, we are 4-in-1 women. And the reason I'm mentioning the seasons right now is because during the seasons, we tend to eat different things, right? During, what if you are not on a 28-day cycle? So Marisela, what are you on? Because if you're, again, it's between 26 to 34 is average. It's okay if you're anywhere in between that. If you're irregular, you still want to, so thank you. You still want to be able to look at these, maybe create your own, if anything, or create your own Excel spreadsheet. I had to for a while, even if it's 2 months long when you're bleeding, you want to be able to track it. And at some point, when you start realizing that you're tracking it, and I'm going to explain how you can become regular later, when you start tracking it, you're going to start noticing that you're going to start becoming regular. It's crazy how it works, but when you start tracking it and being aware of it, it's automatic. It's going to start happening. Okay, so food. Menstruation, your inner winter, is the best time. Again, you're losing a lot of iron, right? You're losing a lot of blood. So it's really good to eat, if you're into meat, red meat if possible, or just having more protein in general. And you want to also do fats. Okay, you also want to do fats, not like olive oil. Heads up really quickly, try not to cook with vegetable oil, like just in general throughout all 4 phases. Don't cook with vegetable oil. That should only be on top of like salads and things like that. If you want to do that, cook with coconut oil, cook with avocado oil is another one, or I cook with red palm oil sometimes, but try not to use vegetable oil. But in general, all those oils that I just mentioned, put them on top of salads or anything else. I put olive oil on top of everything when I'm menstruating. I don't care what I'm eating. Put it on everything because you need it. You just need it. All right, low glycemic index veggies and fruits, meal prep, soups and stews during inner winter, right? Your inner winter, your menstruation is also the time period where you're gonna have soups and stews because you're colder. Your temperature, your body temperature is lower on average during menstruation. So you want to raise it up with soups and stews, okay? And then beets are really good during menstruation. Have all the beets you want. I have a lot of kelp and seafood a lot as well in menstruation, like sardines and things like that. Okay, pre-ovulation, inner spring. Think about a seed, right? In inner spring, they're starting to sprout. You want to eat sprouts during this time period. You want to eat fermented foods, kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut. These are all things that you want to eat during inner spring. You're going to notice so much more energy whenever you do that. Lean proteins during my pre-ovulation, I have a lot of chicken compared to red meat. So I have a lot of red meat normally during menstruation, and I'll have chicken, anything like that during pre-ovulation. Seeds, the seeds that you want to do during pre-ovulation and ovulation are flax seeds. And one more. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. So I'll remember flax seeds. I mentioned sesame and sunflower, flax seeds. Oh, and pumpkin seeds. Yay! So pre-ovulation to ovulation is flaxseed and pumpkin seeds. A great way to do flaxseed is you get flax milk. Instead of getting regular milk, you get flax milk. Absolutely amazing for pre-ovulation, ovulation. You're going to see it. My pre-ovulation, I have a lot of zucchini needles. I have carrots, I have broccoli, parsley, a lot of green peas during that time period, string beans. Okay. Ovulation is going to be the time period where you're going to have raw things, raw fruits and veggies as much as possible. Don't cook them. You're going to think of inner simmer. They're starting to like bloom, right? If you have grains, stick to light grains like quinoa versus white rice or anything like that. You're going to have like asparagus, Brussels sprouts, chard, escarole, scallion, spinach. So before I continue to pre-menstruation, why? Why are you eating like this? Again, we have this inner seasons within us that are similar to the outer seasons. If you notice, if you really think about the seasons, how we're supposed to eat before, we can get anywhere around the world and it gets sent to all our, like our farmers markets, this is how we would eat once upon a time. And this is the seasons that we're having within us. We're changing constantly. We're 4-in-1 women. We're not just one women. And it's important to feed them correctly so that you can get the most energy and be the most productive. And if you do your research, a lot of this is proven through Chinese medicine and Western, Eastern medicine and things like that. You're going to start realizing that they work perfectly with aligning your hormones that change constantly. Your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, it's going to work out perfectly. will these facts be sent in PDF? You may have mentioned this, but I missed that. I'll just send you girls this whole PDF. How about that? I'll send you girls this whole PDF and it's okay. Just keep it, have it. Pre-menstruation, inner fall, again, is that enchantress for the ones that are confused. This is the best time period to roast and bake your veggies and your greens. Okay, so cook them during pre-menstruation. Have foods that are rich in B vitamins or have vitamins in general that have B complexes and B6s. This is the best time period to have, you're welcome. This is the best time period to have cauliflower, daikons, onions. Did I say daikons right? I always feel like I say it wrong. Onions, parsnip, radish, squash, and sweet potatoes. I have sweet potatoes like cray-cray during my pre-menstruation. Like crazy. It's the best time period to do it. Exercises, by the way, this is a happy uterus. If you haven't noticed my little happy uterus, I think it's adorable. Okay, so for exercises, people, I always do that. A lot of people exercise the same throughout their menstrual cycle. And it drives me up a wall because, again, we have 4-in-1 women, we have different phases, we have different energies, and thinking that we're just circadian and the same every single day is false. Only 25% of us is. 75% of us needs to work out like this in different ways. And a lot of times when people are like, Jasmine, I go to Orange Theory every single day and I've gained more weight. Why is that? I'm like, because you're going to Orange Theory every single day. That's why. You're not supposed to be doing HIIT classes every single day. You're going to be, if you're low on energy after a workout, you're doing it wrong. You should have more energy at the end of a workout. You should be able to move. If you are at an hour Zumba class and after 30 minutes you're dying, do me a favor and stop. Do yourself a favor and stop. You don't have to do the extra 30 minutes because you're not there. You may be in a phase that is like, if you're trying to menstruate and doing HIIT classes, that's not going to work. It's just not going to work. HIIT classes are best during ovulation when you really are super wielded and can handle it all. Okay. So I had to explain this a lot to my boyfriend that's a personal trainer and he does like crazy workouts. And I was like, listen, I'm on my pre-menstruation. I'm not doing that right now. And he was like, he would give me some major stuff on it. I taught him this and now he teaches this to his female clients because has been a complete game changer for all of them. And he's seeing a huge difference on their weight gain and their energy level when they walk in. And they're keeping to the exercises more often than not. So changing it up first gives you variety, which is going to bring so much more energy to you, is going to make you feel better. Your energy level is going to be different and you're not going to be like dying at the end of the exercise, right? So menstruation again is the best time for you to relax and rest. If you don't feel like doing anything, don't do anything. I don't do anything the first 2 days of my menstruation. Nothing, nada, zip. I sleep most of the time, okay? And that's super okay. My boyfriend knows he's cooking, he's cleaning, he's doing it all for those 2 days. I do everything during ovulation and almost every other day. For those 2 days, it's his job, okay? And that's super okay. If you live with somebody else, tell them when you're menstruating and explain to them this process. Hey, I do everything all these other days. Give me 2 days off. That's all I ask, right? That's all I ask. And when men see the difference after you have those 2 days of relaxation and how energetic you are and how feminine you are, trust me, they're okay with it. They're super okay with it, okay? So menstruation, try to take 1-2 days off, whatever you can. Stretching is super important. We do not stretch enough in our lifetime. Bianca, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what if you're like, for instance, like those, let's say it just happens to be your cycles on sometimes I get a cycle where it starts on the weekend and sometimes it starts on the beginning of the week, which is hell. But what if you're like, work is demanding like hard work? Like, what do you suggest on that? And you have no choice but to work.
Sadly, we live in a time period where it's not particularly aligned with our menstrual cycle all the time. Sometimes we have to deal with it, but do your best. And I think it's important to explain to people, even like I've told my boss before, hey, I'm menstruating. Give me something else to do during this time period. A lot of people will go, oh, all right, well, fine. Right? But they'll work with you. Even if they're not happy about it, they'll work with you because what else can they do? Honestly, if they don't understand this, show them this webinar, right? and do whatever you can to make them aware of it. I tell people what day I'm on. I'm on day 14 right now. Perfect timing, right? So tell people what day you're on so that they're aware of what energy levels you're at. One day, like, this is my hope and pray in the world, that one day every woman can be like, I'm on day 12, I'm on day 28, I'm on day 1. And we all will automatically know what that means, right? And every man knows it and every man accepts it. One day, I am hoping that we get some menstruation days off, or that we get less work during menstruation and we get more work during ovulation because we can.
Can we do a whole worldwide women meditation on that? Maybe it'll happen fast.
Yes, that sounds great.
Maybe. I'm
That
just
sounds
saying.
fantastic. That sounds amazing. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Help
And
me out
actually,
afterwards.
can I share this? There's actually a few countries that have given women a menstrual leave. Indonesia is one where women get right to 2 days of menstrual leave per month.
Wow.
So can you imagine? Can you
I-
imagine that this could be possible?
Oh, I hope
That would
one
solve
day.
all of our problems. So.
Yes. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for that. So there's hope, girls. There is major hope. But the first thing is that you need to be aware of this. You need to share this knowledge. And after we can do that, there's hope for us. Like, I don't know about, I got to talk to the president one day about all this information, right? One day. So menstruation, you want to stretch. We do not stretch enough ever. And thank you, Claudia. I love you so much. We do not stretch enough. Do balance exercises. Get on one leg and just try to balance. Put one hand on the floor, right? And then go back up all the way and keep doing that. Foam rolling. If you don't know what foam rolling is, do me a favor, Google that right now. Like right now, foam roll, buy one. Go to Amazon. It is the best thing. You're literally giving yourself a massage, and it is the best massage you'll get. And be able, not just moving through something, but actually like staying on a point that is hurting you. Stay on it for a little bit. Oh, it feels absolutely amazing, and you really get out a lot during that time period. So do things like that. Tai Chi is another one. Yoga during menstruation. There's specific menstruation yoga. YouTube it. Really good stuff. All right, pre-ovulation. Pre-ovulation, again, you're going from inner to outer. So you're going to start doing more cardio. Gladys, look it up. Look up foam rolling. I'm telling you, it's a dream come true. A new awakening right there. Pre-ovulation, you get to start doing more cardio, more dance workouts, more Zumba. Again, maiden energy. She's very right? She's very out there. So you get to start moving more. And she's very into doing that karate, playing, going outdoors. So Valerie had mentioned that she does a lot of sports during that time period. I hoop. That's like my favorite thing to do. I hoop dance. So pre-ovulation, I start hoop dancing like crazy and trying out new tricks all the time. During ovulation, this is the time period to go to Orange Theory or go to Vibe class or do those HIIT classes or those body super heavy workouts. This is the time for boot camps and like all the stuff, all the crazy stuff that men do on average. Do it during ovulation only, as much as possible. You can actually do it like a few days before ovulation, a few days after ovulation, but it's like that week-long process. After that, don't do it. Like, you're gonna burn yourself out. Really, you really are.
So you're saying to do this during the time that you're on your period?
Ooh, period is menstruation.
Sorry, yeah. Which that's not ovulation. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Period is ovulation. So I'm sorry. Period is menstruation. So menstruation, stretching, foam rolling, light walking,
Be more
balance
light,
exercises.
less much.
Super light. Yeah.
Okay,
If you do
okay.
anything, you should like have 2 days off. Honestly, is my recommendation. Okay.
Okay.
All right. How am I doing on time? By the way, let's check it out. 6:13. Okay, I'm a little off.
What is
We'll make it
time?
work. It's 6:13.
No, I meant what is time?
Oh, funny. All right, cool. Thank you. Okay. So, and then the last one that I haven't mentioned is premenstruation. So again, you're going from outward to inward. Okay. So this is a great time period because you're about to get menstruation to do Kegels. If you don't know what that is, Google that as well. Gladys, foam rolling, Kegel. Okay. I don't want to talk about Kegel right now too much, but yoni eggs, super awesome to do, especially during premenstruation. Pilates, yoga for stress release and weight loss. Remember that the premenstruation, enchantress, inner fall, all the same thing, is the time period we're going to have your inner critic pop up, that inner voice that likes to talk snap. So do stress relief and weight loss things around that time period. And listen to your gut a lot. a lot during pre-menstruation. See what is it that you need? What is it that your body's asking for? Okay. Moon cycles. I finally get to go into moon cycles. I'm gonna do this quick because I just realized the time. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best, but again, I'm gonna send you this whole PDF so everybody has it. Does anybody have any questions on menstrual cycle? Write it in the chat. Unmute yourself now. It seems like everybody's pretty good though.
One thing is because I'm very specific. I guess that's how I am. I'm very specific on that. Are there days, time periods, or in between? How do you specifically break that up? If that makes sense.
And for now, get an app. For now, get an app so that you can practice it. Another great thing is if you want to do it without an app is focus on basal body temperature. Why is the first day of the cycle the day after your period, not the first day of your period? Okay, so either get an app just for now while you're starting off, or get a basal body temperature. It's going to be harder for you to learn that. But a basal body temperature, when you start learning about the lows and the highs, you're going to start realizing what you are automatically. So basal body temperature is like that thing when you're sick that you put in your mouth, right? And you see the temperature. Your temperature changes depending on what phase you're in. So during menstruation and ovulation, it's the lowest. So you're going to automatically know when you are in those two and when you're in follicular and luteal, or pre-menstruation and menstruation, and pre-menstruation and pre-ovulation. Okay, so why is the first day of the cycle the day after your period, not the first day of your period? You get to decide what you want to do. Everybody follows what has been created through society, which is the first day of your cycle is menstruation, right? That's what gynecologists have told us because it's the easiest to remember. But back in the day when we had red tent, back in the day, gynecologist stuff, the first day was the day after your period because of this maiden energy. Hold on. So menstruation, all the way up. So maiden energy, there you are. So maiden energy is pre-ovulation. It's crone energy is, think of like I don't like to say this, but she's kind of like an old woman, right? She's very wise for her years. So think of maiden as like puberty, right? She's super young. She's like in her 20s. Mothers tend to be 30s, 40s. Enchantresses are like 40s, 50s, and crones are like 60s. If you really want to think about it in years, just to give you an idea, right? So maiden energy is first, not crone. So you see, crone is just easier to know, right? When you see an old person, you kind of know they're old, right? When you see somebody 20s through 40s, you're kind of confusing what age they are. That kind of helps you a little bit. So the reason, it depends on how you want to do it. If to keep it simple, because everybody automatically does first day of cycle is your period, we can keep it there and say that's day one. But truthfully, before gynecologists, before men told us what our first day was, the first day was the day after your period. Okay, so that was just some fun fact for you. Okay, all right, so mission complete. If you have any other questions, put in the chat and we'll talk about it at the end. Okay, I'm gonna move on to moon cycles. So moon cycle and how it connects to your menstrual cycle. Oh, wow. Your moon cycle has different phases. It has the new moon, yay. It has the waning, the full moon, and the waxing. Okay, I'm gonna only focus on those four that I mentioned: new moon, waning, full moon, waxing. These three have different phases in them, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. If you wanna talk about that in the future, we can. For now, we're doing four. Why should you sync the moon cycle and the menstrual cycles together? First off, our ancestors did it automatically. Back in the day, before we had houses, we lived in caves and in tents and in huts, right? Our automatically, we would connect with new moon and period and full moon with ovulation. It would happen. We would have fertility days. We would have red tent days where, if you don't know what red tent is, I'll give you like a small tidbit. We're gonna talk about it later anyways. Red tent is a time period where everybody would bleed together during new moon, and women would all go into a tent that was red. And we would all hang out and give each other news, give each other knowledge from each other. We would share, and wise women would share with each other, be there for each other, and help each other out during our menstruation. And during full moons, we would have fertility events that would go crazy and have a lot of babies during that time period, okay? So our ancestors would do this automatically. And I'm gonna skip this really quickly and go here really quickly. So I mentioned earlier that new moon connects with your period, and full moon connects with your ovulation. That is called white moon syncing, okay? Red moon syncing I'm mentioning this now because somebody mentioned it to me earlier and asked me about this, but I'm bleeding and it's full moon. That's red moon syncing. It's still normal and it's super powerful. If you're red moon syncing, you are a leader of women. For the ones that had red tent days that I mentioned earlier, those wise women that would take care of the women that were bleeding would be in ovulation, and they would be taking care of the women. So red moon syncing means that you're a leader of women and meant to serve at this time period to other women. So if that's happening to you, yes, girl, like this is your time period, okay? So yes, serve, especially during this COVID-19. You're gonna have more energy during this time period, so do it. If you're white moon syncing, don't be like, oh man, because a lot of times we shift, right? We change constantly and we can actually evolve and switch. 2 months ago, I was red moon syncing, and then COVID-19 happened and my menstruation came early, and now I'm a white moon syncing again. Okay, that's fine. I'll work with it, right? But it'll shift, and just trust yourself. You're gonna notice when you're ready to be a leader and when you're ready to work with other women more and when you're ready to be with other women. So trust your body and trust what's happening within. Okay, yes, I'm red mooning now. Yay, there you go. So you are a leader woman. Yay. So what about this moon that we are having now? So for now, I'm just gonna do full moon. I don't wanna go, if Lauren or Claudia wanna talk or anybody else wants to talk more about this specific full moon, have fun, but it's spring energy. So spring is gonna be that maiden energy that I talked about earlier. Wait. Thank God this is the PDF, and this is so much easier to scroll through. Is going to be that main energy. So full moon, inner spring, your main energy is going to be extra powerful during this time period. Okay, so I'm going to stick to just that for now. Okay, so we are here. So new moon, again, you're going to connect to your period on average. If you're white moon syncing, your period is going to have even more divine downloads, even more ideas, even more all of the above. Okay, and it's amazing when you're connecting to the moon and you're aware of it, because then you also get to charge your crystals, and you get to do like if you, and I forgot what it's called, moon water, where you literally put water outside on a little thing and then you can drink it while during menstruation. Oh man, like it's a dream come true if you know that kind of stuff. Connecting is absolutely amazing. So notice I put day 1 to 3.5 because that's when the new moon is. It's like 3 days long. Our menstruation tends to be 5-7 days, so it's totally okay. Everything that I'm mentioning here, best for energy, feelings, and action, is also perfect for menstruation. Okay, so all of this connects. You're going to be able to see inwards, low, conserve your energy, rest, journal, vision boarding, everything I've already mentioned about when you bleed, about menstruation. Okay, so even the feelings, divine downloads, notice the connections that we're getting automatically. If you're white moon syncing, if you're red moon syncing, you can still work with these energies and you get to do a little bit of both, okay? And you get to be a leader, right? Okay, so waxing, start, manifestation, action. This is pre-ovulation as well. So action, productivity, learning new skills, creating systems. You're getting active little by little throughout the phases, right? So everything that I mentioned earlier, this is that maiden energy, okay? Pre-ovulation. Everybody catching on so far? I want thumbs up really quickly. Everybody seeing the connection? Yeah, okay, perfect. So full moon is that mother energy or that ovulation energy, your growth, your abundance. You're going to be going out there more. You're superwoman. You're accomplishing so much more, right? You're go, go, go mode. You're getting stuff done. You're very outward bound. Again, same stuff, okay? And again, I'm going to send this whole PDF to you so you have all this information on what your energy is like, your feelings, your actions, and getting more into it. And then your waning is that enchantress or that pre-menstruation time period. You're finishing, you're celebrating, you're going back to completing and going back to yourself, okay? Okay. We talked about this. How to sync. If you're not syncing, if you're not white moon or red moon syncing, but you would like to, the best way to do it, there's 3 ways to do it. Go say hi to the moon every night. Just go outside and say hi to the moon. It's as simple as that. You're going to start being aware of what the moon is. Get an app if you want to, which is also follow the moon. Get an app and start being aware of what moon phase is happening. Print these and put these these little papers about the moon cycle and the menstruation cycle on your fridge or on your side of the bed or in your journal, anything like that. Do you have a favorite moon cycle app? I have an Android, so I'll tell you which one I have. I have one that gives me like a little widget and it's like on my screen at all times. It's called Simple Moon Phase Widget. So if you have Android, it literally shows up like on my screen. As soon as I open my screen, it's like, here's your full moon. And it tells me the percentage that it's in. That's very good. And something else to really do, if you want a white moon sync or if you want a red moon sync, what you can do is you can do lunaception. Lunaception is super powerful. It's proven if you have an irregular period, I mentioned earlier, if you have an irregular period, I'm going to give you a great tactic to do. 50% of people that do lunaception have an irregular period end up having a regular period. Okay, so it's absolutely amazing for you to just do this one thing. Sleep in complete darkness, not a peep of light during every night except for the 3 nights of your ovulation. So whenever you start bleeding again, if you're irregular, wait until day 14, 15, and 16, you're gonna sleep with a little bit of light that mimics the full moon. Whether you can go to Barnes & Nobles and they have like an actual moon that you can get and you can literally like go through different phases of the moon if you want, and you can put full moon and just hang it on a wall. Or I have like a little salt lamp that I put like a towel over, and I'll put it on the floor so that it shines on the ceiling a little bit, and that will help me. So I did that last night. Perfect. If you want to do red moon syncing, you would do that during red moon syncing, you would do that during new moon, right? So when new moon comes up around April 21st, you would put the 3 days that you have that little bit of light on new moon if you want to red moon sync. I don't recommend that you try to red moon sync and become a leader. You can be a leader whenever you want to, but I highly recommend that you white moon sync worth like always. So if anything, because we're full moon now, you can try lunaception tonight. So it's gonna be perfect. Okay, and for the next 3 nights, put on a little bit of light in your room, and the rest of the time, not a single piece of light. Right, so hopefully, if anybody has questions on lunaception, let me know. It's really important to do that. Okay, all of these extra things, again, you're gonna get this PDF sent to you. It's gonna be tons of tips on what to do for your menstrual cycle, on how to track it, how to do all the above that we mentioned, your body, how to take care of it, organic, drink less sodas, like things that you should know. I mentioned earlier about avoiding vegetable oils, avoiding grains, gluten, and dairy. We mentioned that too. Getting organic tampons, okay? Really quickly, because this is super important. If you're just getting Tampax from anywhere or tampons from anywhere, try burning it. This sounds crazy, but try burning that tampon. It doesn't burn, it melts. It is absolutely nasty, okay? If you're putting a bunch of chemicals in your body and it's actually like not in the law to write their ingredients that tampons use. So get something that is trustworthy. Lola.com is my absolute favorite. Cora, C-O-R-A is another one. They have organic tampons. You could burn it. Crazy, right? Cotton should burn, right? So if you're gonna put something in you, know what it is. Lauren, I think this is a great time period for you to talk about vaginal steaming and talk about the power of your vagina and how it takes in stuff. So go ahead. I'm gonna stop sharing really quickly so you can speak. Oh my God, I love all 31 participants.
Oh my goodness. I'm so honored to be in this room of all these divine goddesses on this eve. Like, I just feel the power. Thank you so much for having me. I learned so much about this. Now, I will let you know that if I'm in my
What happened? She left. All right, she'll come back and we'll have that conversation. It's gonna be great. We'll talk about it. Claudia, can I pop you up? I know you said you had to leave at 6:30. Can I pop you up really quickly? We have an event that's coming up that Claudia, me, I don't know if Robin and Melissa are here. Oh, I see Robin. Hi, Robin.
Yeah,
Robin, and I don't think Melissa's here. All 4 of us are doing April 21st. We did this last month and it was so absolutely amazing. I mentioned Red Tent. We're doing virtual Red Tents. So Claudia, you are my Red Tent priestess. So please do me a favor and explain to everyone what that is.
Well, first of all, amazing content. I've learned so much. This was incredible. So thank you. You're amazing. And yeah, it's just really an honor to be here with your amazing group community. So I think you did a really good job explaining it. You know, the red tent is that time when we come together during the new moon. If you are wide thinking, and thank you for that distinction. And you know, just a time for us to come together. And you know, for me, when I learned about this work, as you may be in that position right now, I was just fascinated by it and completely transformed by the possibility of us engaging with our cycles in a completely different way. So that's what the Red Tent movement, it's now a global movement, it's aims to create. It's opportunities for women to gather during the new moon. And, you know, during the new moon, if you are bleeding with the new moon, it's a good opportunity not only to bleed physically, but also emotionally. So we create the space for us to share and to be able to shed what no longer serves us, an opportunity for us to come together and just simply share, you know, share with each other, get support, and also an opportunity to connect with your femininity, with your divine feminine, in sisterhood. And we do something pretty neat. We also offer a virtual a tea ceremony. And maybe I'll let Robin share a little bit about that. But yeah, so we had our first one last month, and it was just so beautiful and a huge success. So we'll love for you to be there. I know maybe Jocelyn will be sharing the link later on. And yeah, so it's just an opportunity for us to deepen on this work and be in sisterhood. So thank you for all the work that you do. And this work, this knowledge and the Red Tent just go hand in hand. So really powerful. Robin, would you like to share a little bit about the tea, just a few minutes, quick?
Perfect.
Maybe.
There you go.
Yes, you got it. All right.
Okay, great. So hello, ladies, and hello, Claudia, and hello, Jaslyn, and I'm amazed. What amazing content, as you said, Claudia. I'm really amazed. As a woman who is no longer bleeding, as a woman who is postmenopausal, in the Crohn stage, as you mentioned, approaching my 60s, not there yet, but I come from a different perspective, and I am amazed at how illuminating, how enlightening this content is. And I wish that I had had this content, this information, this type of community, this gathering when I was in, you know, when I was still in my bleeding days. It would have just been a beautiful source of sisterhood and friendship and sisters and sharing. So I applaud you, Jaslyn. This is amazing work. And all the ladies that are here, all the goddesses that are here, you're blessed to have this resource. It's truly a blessing, truly a resource and a guide. How amazing to be informed with this information, to have this resource, and to have this community. So when we offer our red tent on the new moon, as Claudia shared, we will also be offering, and we just started last month, in thanks to COVID that has moved us into a new direction with our red tent. We will also be offering a virtual tea ceremony. And we will be sharing tea. You will receive your tea in advance of the red tent, in advance of the date. And we will basically be sharing tea together while we are online, just as we are here now. And it was powerful last month. It was palpable. It was powerful. It brought us together. We all shared a beautiful bond, and not just what we're experiencing as we're bleeding or no longer bleeding, or as women, or as a red tent community, but also sharing the bond of what we are all experiencing right now in our environment, in the world, all globally. We are all touched by what is going on right now in the world. So it was just beautiful, and I invite you all to come and share and be with us and in sisterhood. Later on in the future, Jaslyn and I are working on some specialty blends. This is Jaslyn's vision, and I am going to help her bring this vision to life, and that is to create a tea blend, one for each of the menstrual cycles. So there will be a blend, an herbal blend that can support each of the cycles, whether you need to adjust your hormones in this direction or in that direction, or help to increase your energy levels, decrease your energy levels, commune with the moon, sync with the moon. The blend will hopefully achieve all of those components in the blend, and we're working on that, and that will be coming to you soon. So I leave you, and thank you for inviting us, Jaslyn, to be a part of this work that you're doing. Really, I'm truly honored to be a part.
Yes, it's an honor. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you,
Can't wait to
ladies, so
see
much.
everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I love you girls so much. It is an honor to work with both of them. I see that Laura's back on right before she jumps back on. It seems like she's getting ready for it. Robin, I love you. Claudia, I love you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to be working with both of you. For anyone that hasn't been to Red Tent, April 21st is going to be a free event. That's going to be absolutely amazing. And the last one was like, I cried afterwards because it was just so beautiful. So I can't wait to have some more beautiful ladies there. Lauren, I think we're officially ready for you. Yay.
I am very sorry about that technical difficulty, ladies. So I am back, and yeah, I know a lot of you are located in Florida, the 305 baby, but I am actually up here in Queens, New York, and I have a vaginal steam wellness center here. And vaginal steaming can be done from your home, or you can come to a place like this. And what my partner Amanda of Offset Herbals are doing right now are really trying to help women just connect in general to a vaginal steam practice. So if you haven't heard of it before, I'll just give you kind of the who, why, when, where, what, all of that kind of thing quickly, and then you can get more information, and I'll put in the chat or if somebody can, because I'm on my phone now, but you can find it through my website and just find other resources, and I'm more than available to guide you through your own practice. But really, it's using steam and herbs in order to open you and cleanse you and help you to release. So it is an ancient practice found on every continent. We don't know exactly where it originated, but it's here now. It's made a huge comeback with the divine feminine rising that is really going on around the planet right now, and it's an amazing thing. I have actually been practicing vaginal steaming with myself for about 3 years. I just met a woman selling the herbs, and she told me that, you know, things like physical symptoms like PCOS, PMS, fibroids, cysts, infertility, all these different things were really connected to us not being able to release from our womb space. And what vaginal steaming does is it uses steam and water, which is ancient, which is electric, which is very much alive, to open up your porous cervix, uterus, and like the labia and different things in your vagina to open that up. You're sitting over a pot of steam traditionally, and then you use different blends of herbs depending on what your specific needs are, organic herbs, to be able to give your body medicine that it needs to release, to heal, traditionally used for postpartum care to help women to really recover much faster, to help us deal with our emotional issues and different things like that. And I'm not sure if a lot of you have heard, but trauma is inherited. It's passed down generationally through our cells, and our cells hold memory. And that trauma that our ancestors went through 7, 8, even longer generations ago, if that's not healed, that is passed down to us, and we carry that with us most of the time in our womb space. And if you remember how we started this whole amazing webinar with the meditation and really thinking of what we wanted to release, that is essentially what vaginal steaming is, making space in your womb for you to be able to create worlds. You know, this is the portal from the physical to the spiritual, and you're basically allowing any trauma, any disease, any toxicity to be released from your vaginal space so that you can bring in whatever you want, so that you can have the power to fill that up with whatever you want, not what's been passed down to us. And in healing in healing that space, you're also helping to heal those generations that came before you, as well as the generations that will come after you, because you're not passing this down, you know, anymore. It also is just an amazing practice because we are all one day, and it's really great to be able to, in healing ourselves, be able to radiate that vibration and that frequency of love and healing to help heal others. So it went from a very physical practice for me, just trying to balance myself. My practice is called Bella Luna because I feel like very important to be synced with this beautiful moon that we have and all of her wisdom, and to really get into tap into our divine feminine power. So we're using that to create a beautiful moon cycle so that we can honor ourselves and our power. And then basically what we're doing is that creating and healing other women, other children, and of course men, hold it down. So you use again, you do an intake usually with us, and I can help you if you want to start your own practice at home. We have a lot of information on the website too about some of your free ask questions, and we're hosting webinars next week and the week after, just how to tap into your divine feminine power through steaming and all this kind of thing, because it's just a phenomenal practice. And like I said, it takes about 15 to 30 minutes, and it's an amazing self-care ritual to do anytime you are not bleeding. The key is to not steam while you are on your period, but it can be done and safely done every single day that you are not bleeding. Now, I probably missed a lot of things, but I just thank you all for your time and your attention, and be divine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. I personally have not done vaginal steaming yet, but I met Lauren, 2 weeks ago, and she was telling me all of this information. I'm like, I need to share this with the world. And interestingly enough, she saw one of my PDFs and just messaged me on Instagram saying, I need to share your stuff with the world. So this webinar was thanks to her. I wouldn't have done this without her. So thank you so much for being here. And I saw that your partner, Amanda, seems to be here as well. So hopefully I get to meet you one of these days. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Please do me a favor, send me information on those webinars, and I'll put it as part of the replay that I send out to everybody so they can sign up for that, and the red tent as well as the next thing for everybody to do. All right, so I'm gonna do something at 6:42, but somebody who's still on. Oh, okay, Robin. There you go. I muted you, girl. It's okay. I left. I'm going to stop the recording now, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open it up for sharing circle. So I know it's 6:42. I said that this was going to end at 7, but anybody that wants to speak, this is your time period. Okay, so as soon as I stop the recording, I'm going to explain the rules. First off, speak in I statements. If another person went before you, do me a favor, don't talk about her experience, talk about your experience only. Okay, this is for you to open up because we never get to speak about what's going on with their menstrual cycles, about feminine energy, about any of this stuff. And like I mentioned earlier, women need to speak and let it out, okay? So I'm gonna open this up for you to talk about whether it's anything I taught today about menstrual cycle, moon cycle, about vaginal steaming, about red tent. This is your time period to open up and ask anybody in here about it, okay? Now, another thing is we're gonna share, but we're not gonna, unless you ask for advice, we're not gonna give it to you. Here, we're gonna say thank you so much. We honor you, we honor this space. We're gonna move on to the next person. If you want advice, you ask me, Jasmine, what do I do? Okay? Or you can ask Lauren, Claudia, Robin, you can ask any other woman that's in here that has anything to offer. What is it that I should do? Open it up to people, okay? But it's up to you, not up to us, all right? So I'm gonna stop the recording. For the recording girls, I love you so much, and I hope that you enjoy.